good afternoon, good morning, maybe also. My name is Yair, and I'm heading the Miro startup program. Ale, would you be able to maybe show the screen or the board?
You want the board?
Yes, please.
For sure.
Thanks for everybody that's joined us, and really happy to see you're all here. I'm calling in from sunny Amsterdam, and the board is still loading a bit. It will become clearer in a bit. So quickly, we are here together with Triggers today, and we are hosting an event for the Miro Startup Program. For the ones that are not part yet of the program, please sign up via miro.com/startups. And what you can do there is you can get $1,000 for free to use Miro. And also we have other events coming up, so you will be always informed about the next events that will happen. And we have other valuable resources for you to check out. Also, feel free to connect with us. For example, we have Ask Me Anything sessions for startups. Also, we have our startup blogs, and you can always reach out to connect with me on LinkedIn. With this introduction, I would like now to introduce our guests for today. Our guests are, like I said, Triggers. They are actually really our Miro rockstars. They're going to become also a chapter lead for Miro, and they're going to organize way more events for us. It's really great. And we have with us Sandy. Sandy has a background at Hyper Island, and she is a UX designer. And also we have Ale, who is a serial founder and also the founder of Triggers. And he's a really experienced facilitator as well. So I'm looking forward to this event with you guys. And over to Ale and Sandy.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Jair, a lot for the intro, for the invitation, and everything. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? All good? You hear me well? You see me well? Well, we're here today for doing this event, this short workshop that we call How to Humanize the Team Process, Solve some Common Team Frictions. I guess if you came here, it's because you're a human and you have some frictions that you want to solve. That's great, because we are going to talk about some of these things, and we're going to give you hopefully a framework that you can actually use very easy with your team and try to understand what is happening. We have a quite quick agenda here. We're gonna divide this into 4 different parts. We have a check-in that we're gonna be doing with you just to say hello, take the temperature of the room. We're gonna do a bit of an intro about the triggers, about Sandy and I, and then we're gonna explain you the methodology. We're gonna do some exercise on that, and we're gonna do a checkout. So all that in 60 minutes. So we are gonna go just into it right now. Please, if you have any questions or anything that you want to say, you can use the chat. Sandy, who we will introduce later, is gonna get all the comments and stuff, and she's gonna ping me remotely on like, hey, Alex, someone's asking about this and that. So please use the chat whenever you want, and we'll check it out. Okay, so first thing, we're gonna do a quick check-in. And the check-in, we're gonna be doing it with Miro. It's a very simple exercise that we prepare for you. We really love doing this exercise. You are gonna go here. We're gonna pass the link now in a second. Sandy will help me with that. But first of all, we're just gonna go onto the first board. There is this one that you will see. There's lots of cats, really nice cats. Some of them with really happy faces. Some of them a bit weird. But we just want you to find the cat that you feel more related to in terms of the mood that you have right now. And then you can just like put a post-it next to it with your name, and that's it. So find the cat that you feel most related to, put a post-it with your name, and that's it. If you don't know how to put any post-its, I guess this is Miro 101. You have on the left in the menu, you have one icon for sticky notes. So you just need to click on it, click wherever in the board, and then put your name. And you can just like drag it around It's quite easy. Good. This is actually my favorite part of the Miro, seeing all the cursors, they're just like little bees going around. I feel this is amazing. This is so fun. I love a bit of chaos. Control chaos is one of my favorite things in life. So funny to see this. Well, thank you all for that. So as we mentioned, we're gonna go back to the Zoom meeting. We are here, Ale, who is me, and Sandy. I'm actually gonna spice it up. I'm gonna introduce you, Sandy, and then you can introduce me if that's fine. So Sandy is from Sweden. She's actually connecting from Stockholm. No, not Stockholm. Where were you connecting?
From Uppsala.
Yeah, I was like, no, she's not. She's not back in Stockholm. So she's connected from Uppsala right now, and she's been at Triggers already for like 7 months, 6 months, something like that. She does UX, and she also takes care of the community at Triggers and the programs that we have for education. She studied at Hyper Ireland before, and also worked at IKEA, and now she also moved to Barcelona to actually be with us at Triggers. Is everything correct?
Yeah, nice introduction. How can I top that? So this is Ale on the other side, and Ale is the CEO and founder of Triggers, has more than 10 years of experience as a facilitator and process design facilitation, we'd say. And also, yeah, been working with different companies in the creative industry, was one of the co-founders of the famous pop-up agency as well. And yeah, have I missed something? Like, it's so many things, Ale. I don't know. I could brag on forever.
I think it's enough. Thanks a lot.
No.
So we're both from a company called Triggers. At Triggers, we like to say that we develop tools and methodologies for modern teamwork. And what we mean with modern teamwork is that actually teams that want to work in a different way, want to work more human, want to work more efficient, and want to do things with a different perspective. We are a very small team of actually just like we're starting to be now 6 and 7. For some months we were only like 4, and then we increased it a bit the team lately. But we have a mix of different nationalities, different people, different expertise, and actually we're based in different places. So we work remotely, all of us. If Ville, Paloma, or Sara or Javi, you're around, hi. It's and also the purpose of Triggers is actually it started because we realized that we tend to get very clear instructions on what to do, but normally the way we work is almost always improvised. Not a lot of people have a very strong system. It gets just like very messy and very frustrating sometimes. So after a couple of years working on graphic design, on advertising, and many other different places, I decided to start on my own and start helping companies to improve the way they work it. At the beginning, it was a bit messy, but then I came up with a first initial idea of something that I wanted to do. That is these physical cards that at the beginning I used to call them trigger cards. Trigger cards were just ideation cards, so they have all of them were divided into different topics, all of them with what if questions, and they will help a lot just teams and different companies in the way they did the brainstorming. So I'll show you very quickly. This is how the cards in reality looks like. Sorry, I cut myself today in the kitchen. But this is how the different cards look like. We had different decks for the many different topics, like for example, this one on storytelling. We had some on planet-centric. We had some on serendipity, on like more crazy ones. Campaign, there are many of them. There are like 16 different ones. And for example, I'll show you this. All of the cards, what they have are what if questions, and that help you ideate on different topics. Like for example, in this case is how you tell a story. So how you use them is super simple. Everything that you need is just a problem. You take a card and then you start giving ideas. Like for example, this. You have a problem like how to launch a new product. Let's say you have a new soda flavor or something that you wanna launch. Then you just like take one card that it says, for example, what if the solution was a secret? And then you start ideating around it, like throw a secret party, again to guess the product, all these kind of different things. For the decks, we actually picked a lot of different experts around the world that help us curate the different questions and the different topics. So we have experts here from Sachi and Sachi, we have people from Vice, we have people from Pentagram, and many different other from Amazon, Fjord, and things like that, and they help us curate all the different questions. Another thing that we do is this book. We created a methodology a year and a half ago. That is something that I'm going to explain you a bit in this workshop. This one, the example is in Spanish, but actually you can find it in English too. It's this book here, and it's a book very useful actually if you want to get into facilitation and helping teams through the process and so on. It's called Creative Process Design, and it's quite a good read, I would say, if you are into process design. Another thing that we do is cards for reflection, so you can have some retrospective with your team. We also do some programs on education. We recently launched these ones, two main ones. The first one is on remote facilitation. That the first one is starting, the closest is on the 21st of June, and it's everything about how to facilitate remote sessions. And we also have another one that we call Triggers Mentorship Program that is very nerdy. It's like 4 months. This one, the other one is only 2 sessions, but this one is our biggest and longest one, and it's for people that are looking really into going deep for everything when it comes to process design, etc. Recently, we are going to also be launching a Domestika course that is actually next week launching. So if you are into Domestika, you will see us there from Thursday, I think, next week. And as I mentioned, we are a very small team of only 7 people, but we work with really big companies like Zurich, BBVA, things like Macan, OLBB, Google, etc. Some of the random ones like World Economic Forum and things like that. But enough talking about us, because we are here for talking about remote, we're here talking about teams, and we're here talking about actually frictions. So there's one first question I want to ask you all. The first question is, what are your main pain points when it comes to remote work? I'm going to share with you another Miro board. You will see that it's on the right from the one that we had already. I'm going to reveal it now. You will see that you have different cards here with statements. Okay, we had many different statements. I want to give you all, like, let's say 4 minutes to read these cards, and you will see that there's some dots here. Maybe you will need more, so I'm gonna copy paste them. 1 second. Whoop. You can use these different dots to put them on top of the cards that feel familiar for you. So for example, if you are like, oh, I feel that online meetings are way too long and unproductive, you can put 1 dot there. There's no limit, there's no maximum or minimum of dots you can put. So, buffet, it's a free buffet, just go for it. Think about your team, think about your own company and your own experience. Go through the different cards and just mark the ones that feel related.
If you may get sick of all the cursors moving in your screen, you can click on the arrow, the blue arrow, it's called, and there you can hide collaborators' cursors. Some people don't like to see all the arrows.
Okay, so it seems like a lot of things are pain points, but definitely maybe here, this one, I feel that I'm constantly closing small pending tasks after the day has ended. That's probably one major thing for all of us. I feel that I'm missing bonding time with my teammates. I feel that we schedule way too many calls. Yeah, guilty, right? I feel that I'm slowly getting disconnected from the team. I hear hard to pick up my colleagues' tone through their text. Actually, all those things, what I'm trying to say with this exercise is that it's interesting to see how actually frictions that we all think that is happening in our team, that is happening in organization, are actually common in many other organizations. So you can start seeing patterns and you can start seeing things that repeat all the time and that we have, time's up, we all suffer from. This is actually something that I started working on many years ago. At the beginning, when I started getting some frustration on, for example, when I tried to ideate with people and didn't work, or when I tried to make agreements with people and didn't work, at the beginning I was taking it very personal and I was thinking either my team was horrible, or then at one point I was like, because it repeats so many times, I was feeling maybe I am the horrible one and I'm impossible to work with. But then, as Sandy said, when I started working at the pop-up agency, I started working and traveling around the world. I went from Hong Kong to LA, working for many different people and many different agencies. I started realizing that we all have very common frictions and very common frustrations that we all struggle with. So I started realizing that actually maybe the problem is more related to this. It looks like we are used to, I mean, we all know that we come from a moment where everything was about close creation, right? So individual creation, and now everything is about co-creation. And that's something that we don't need to discuss because we all know this is a norm right now. But actually my main point is how do you go from individual creation to co-creation to do something together? Because working together is already actually difficult. So how do you make those systems? How do you make it basically smooth for everyone? And another thing, another important part is that we realized that we humans are way too complex. You know, we all have different personalities and we all have different ways of thinking. And the creative process normally is very abstract. So people tend to think about it as a not tangible way. They try to think about it as a kind of something very open, very mysterious, and something that you cannot hack. We at Triggers, we actually think the completely opposite. We think that you can make it tangible, that we can make it very, very straightforward, very simple, and then you can actually hack it. And I'm going to show you how. If you are all with me, I'm going to show you now like the big element, the big how. I'm going to show you something that we call process design patterns. And its patterns is definitely different things that repeat all the single time. In this case, we identify 5 different patterns that correspond to all the different mindsets a team can have or adopt when creating. So from our experience, from taking from other methodologies and from actually seeing and experiencing things, we realize that every single creative in the world can adapt 5 different moods or 5 different mindsets. And with them, when you identify them, you're starting to understand why certain things happen. I'm going to show you the 5 different patterns. Okay, so I need you all to be with me on the Zoom, because if you don't see this, then you're going to get lost for the whole workshop, and we don't want that. So here, the 5 different patterns are these ones. Someone, when creating, could either be understanding something, defining it, ideating, selecting, or activating. There's no other mood you can get actually on any of the creative process, at least in a, of course you can get annoying, but that's not a mindset that is useful for the creative process. But when it comes to the mindset a creative can get, is these 5 ones. And I represent it with the different shapes because it helps you also understand the different patterns. For example, understanding is a circle because understanding means going around something, trying to, talk about a topic and researching, analyzing, etc. Right? Maybe sharing with the rest, gathering everyone around, reflecting. So all that is understanding. You do it to understand something. Another thing that you can do is actually have a mindset of defining. Defining is a square because it's something that is more solid, it's more difficult to move. So then you take it as a solid base and foundation. So when you go into the defining mode, it's because you are trying to put criteria, you're trying to put details, you're trying to actually put parameters and all these things. Ideating and selecting are actually two shapes that I take from the design thinking process, if anyone is familiar. And on the ideating is basically, creating more opportunities, start thinking on exploring new ideas, generating ideas, etc. And the selecting is the opposite. It's like seeing at least a big list of things and then narrowing down and taking only 1, 2, or whatever you need. And the last mood you can get is activating. Activating means everything around your energy. So maybe doing a break, or motivating your team, or maybe going for a walk, or maybe doing some celebration together, anything like that. And if you think about it, these 5 different patterns correspond to very simple moments that we all have in the creative process. I'll show you an example of actually a question that I was doing with another group. So the circle moment is all about making questions, clarifying doubts, understanding, finding blind spot, sharing, reflecting. Makes sense, right? So everything that is about research, questioning, etc. The square is all about putting limits, putting goals, agreeing, setting criteria, setting the focus, defining ideas. Again, it's about defining. The closed triangle is all about discarding options, making clusters, combining ideas, filtering by choices, selecting. The open triangle is about exploring options, generating options, experimenting, thinking out of the box, ideating, creating solutions to a problem. And finally, the star is about adding energy, having fun, liberate tensions, proposing a break, celebrations, organize a mingle, etc. Does it all make sense with all these 5 different patterns? Do you all agree? Any questions on this? Any doubt? I see some digital thumbs up. Thanks for that. Anyone, you can put the mic if you have any question now, or on the chat. Perfect. Okay. Good. So then I'm gonna make a simple exercise to see if you actually understood what I said, and you are able to recognize the pattern. Okay. So I'm going to show you here on the Miro. I see some chat going on. Okay, just great, perfect. So there's here another board. I'm gonna show you 5 different statements, 5 different sentences that people can say, very common sentences that someone can say on a meeting, right? On a process, whatever it is. And I want you to select which is the pattern that it relates to. So you can start identify like, oh, when I say this, I'm in this kind of mindset. So I'm in this kind of pattern. Yeah, makes sense? So I'm gonna do one example. So if I said something like, what should I say? Oh, this idea is the worst. It's not the one that I like at all. So what I'm doing there is I'm putting my mindset into the closed triangle, right? Because I'm selecting, I'm saying that sentence from already filtering, selecting, etc. Let's see if this makes sense. I'm gonna show you and then you'll see. So first try, this one. Imagine someone, you are on a session and it says, what if we create a new function that allow users to share music? So someone is just like on the meeting and someone says that, right? Hey, what about a new function for people to share music? What can you put a post-it on next to the pattern that you think that sentence relate to? So yeah, all of you that said open triangle, you're right. Maybe if you put the star, you could think like, oh yeah, but I'm adding energy, about motivating people and so on. Okay, I understand, but I think actually what your brain is doing is creating ideas. So then your mindset is on the open triangle. And the circle I would say it's not definitely not the circle, because it's not about trying to understand something. It's proposing something, right? So you are actually creating new ideas. Okay, you understand the dynamic, right? So you can go on the bottom, and I'm gonna do a second one. Let's see who's the fastest here. So I'll show the next sentence is, the idea is too expensive and difficult. What kind of mindset do you think someone is having when they're saying this? Yes, this one is actually very typical from closed triangle. It's a moment when you are actually saying, you're categorizing one thing into or expensive and difficult, or easy and productive, or whatever. So you're actually making clusters. You're actually selecting. That's what you are doing with your mindset, because you're clustering things already. I understand the ones you're saying defining, because maybe you're saying like, hey, I'm defining this idea as expensive and difficult, but you're doing it actually to select, not you're doing it as defining a details or defining things that I need, etc. Okay, number 3, let's see about this one. It says, but wait, what do our users expect from hiring our service? Is someone suddenly in a meeting is asking that? What could they mean? We got a favorite one. The circle. Yes, it's actually the circle. It's definitely the circle. It's about understanding, right? So you're making this question in order to understand something, to make maybe more research about it, because you don't know that. And second to last option, let's see, the fourth one. Let's start by sharing what we all did during the weekend. When someone says that, and the last one, I'm gonna try to observe who of you is the fastest one. Let's see if I can do that. Someone said, let's make a plan of how the pitch presentation should be. Okay, it was a guest. So I don't know who guest is. So I guess you all win. Okay, yeah, perfect. It's about structuring. It's about defining. It's about making, statements that are about details, about plan, structure. So it's definitely, it's definitely a square. So as you can see, it's very easy to start understanding how people think if you analyze how they say the different questions and the different things that they say, and you can attach them to all the different mindsets, all to these 5 different mindsets. And the important thing, if you go back to Zoom, this methodology, if you go back to the presentation, this methodology first helps you understand these 5 different patterns, these 5 different mindsets, but also understand the frictions that you can spot by overlapping patterns. That is very, very common that this happens a lot. So I'll show you what I mean. Everything works fine if you do something like this. You have the 5 different patterns here, right? So as long as you have all of them, like, oh, first this, second this, and you work this way with your team, and everyone is here at that time, everyone's here at the same time, all works perfect. But the problems are when things like this happen, that I'm here and someone is here and we are on the same time in different patterns, because then I'm with the mentality of understanding something and someone else is defining something with the mentality, the mindset of defining something. So we're overlapping our moments and we are overlapping our mindsets. Classic thing is when this happens, right? Someone is on the mindset of creating, of ideating, and someone is on the mindset of selecting. So when we do that, you get very frustrated because this person is being very negative and this person is being very positive and constantly proposing ideas, right? So you do this. How many times does it happen in your teams that people not only do this or this, like, oh, let's go for a break, and someone else keeps on talking on creating ideas, or understanding the problem, and you're like, oh, come on, we just on our break, and these kind of things. But not only that, but also sometimes meeting at a mess of this, like everything together, all this at the same time, and you don't create a structure or like, hey team, we're coming to this meeting to actually do this. We are all on the mindset of understanding, or we are all on the mindset of defining, or whatever it is. Make sense? All this? Just by that, if you are able to spot these things, your frictions are going to be much less. I promise you. It's just going to be, everything's going to be quite smoother. It just happened to your team, Eva. Okay, so I'm gonna make another exercise with you to see if you understood this well. I'm gonna show you the other thing that I have for you. I'm gonna see if you can actually spot and identify the following frictions that I placed it there in Miro. I'll show you what I have. So here, I'm gonna show you one example, and then I'm gonna divide you into breakout rooms where you can work. Well, first of all, I'm gonna divide you into breakout rooms, and I want you to have just like an intro, all of you, because probably you are gonna go with someone that you don't know. So you can start by introducing yourself out loud, just speaking, 5 minutes, not 5 minutes each, but 5 minutes in total. Like, what is your name, role, where are you based, what pattern do you feel more related to, why? For example, I would say, hey, I'm Ale, I'm the founder of Triggers. I'm based in sunny Barcelona. Well, not today, it's actually raining. And I feel more related to the square pattern because I like making ideas tangible and defined. So I'm very attached to the pattern of a square. So this could be my intro. If you get me on your group, then you already know me. I don't have to introduce myself. And then the second thing that I want you to do, and you will have 12 minutes for it, I want you to try to solve these different cases, these three different cases. If you can solve only two, then two, okay, whatever it is. One example is this one. So I have two figures, two patterns that are overlapping, and I want you to try to think about what two mindsets, patterns are collapsing, and what could be the friction, and how to solve it. So for example, this one here is definitely a square, right, with an open triangle. So I said, like, what two mindsets are collapsing, and what could be the friction? Well, the two mindsets collapsing are square, so defining, open triangle, ideating. So probably some team members are trying to decide on some details and define aspects of the project, while others are still giving ideas and brainstorming. That is the friction. That some are on details and others are still giving ideas and brainstorming. And then the second part, how will I solve this friction? Well, I will ask the group if they feel they need more suggestions or if they are ready to define the ideas. And if everyone is comfortable with just defining the ideas, then I will totally stop the mindset of open triangles. So tell everyone to stop ideating and focus just on the square. So defining. Yeah, makes sense? So you have three different more cases. And I want you to go with your team, try to solve them, and try to do exactly the same that I did with the example. So Jair, you can maybe help us with the teams. We are 40, so I think.
Shall I make 8 rooms, and then we have 4 to 5 people per room?
Yeah, that would be great, Jair.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm now opening the rooms, and we're gonna go in now.
Oh, by the way, one thing. If you, oh no, yeah, perfect. No, everything's good. you go to the team, to the board that says then the number of your team.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a room number, and then you can go to the board frame that Ale made, and there you can work on with your team.
You stay here, right, Jair, if there's any problem.
Exactly.
Cool. Could you put the timer? Oh, well, sorry, I put it. I'll do 5 minutes first for intro, and then I'll put it again. So yeah, let's take a quick look on the different parts. I don't know if you were able to do everything. I was in this group. In my case, it was very interesting, actually, the different conversations, because it opened up, for me at least, the floor into how could you solve it. It was actually very, very interesting. But when it comes, for example, when someone is on the mindset of researching, understanding, etc., and someone else is on like, yeah, come on, let's have a break, let's have party, let's have energy, it's very, very easy to actually collapse these energies, because probably someone is trying to understand something is very concentrated, very focused, and the other one is very disconnected and want to get away from that. So yeah, it's all about checking the temperature to see if people actually need some activation or it's only one person, and also seeing what are the things that are understanding the team, so you can check if maybe they're going around too much in a circle, maybe they need to get out of the loop, because this is one important part of the circle that sometimes we get on that mindset and we just like get too stuck on that, right? So we just don't get out of that, and we just like for 2 hours we've been trying to figure out something, understand something, and you're basically just procrastinating from there. This friction is also very interesting when someone is trying to understand something and the other people are trying to already define. My group actually says something very interesting. Is one of the biggest problem with this, if someone is trying to understand something and the other one is trying to define it, if you go into definition, then maybe you're going to leave some people behind, and that's actually very, very difficult and very dangerous, because then you can carry on those doubts and you can carry out those lack of knowledge for the whole process. So be careful with that. And one important thing is, for example, make everyone write on a board, on a piece of paper, or on a Miro board, what do they understand of the problem, what they're trying to do, or the topic they're trying to do, and then compare them. But make them write it, somewhere so it's visible and you can compare those definitions, because then you can start seeing like, oh, actually we are not defining it the same way, we do need more circle, or no, everyone is actually on the same board, on the same paper, sorry, on the same page, on my third try I said it right. And then we can move on. And this is the classic thing, that I explained before, that happens a lot when someone is on creating and the other one is on selecting. It's also very energy draining. That's basically the biggest problem, because someone is giving ideas and the other one is not constructive. It's just very, very draining. So yeah, it's just about to try to make them understand the other one, that it maybe you have some rules, maybe you have some time, maybe you say like, okay, for an hour, for 30 minutes, we're gonna be on only positive, and please leave your criticism for later. Try to do maybe exercises that put people on different mindsets. All this is very, very useful. Does anyone else want to share anything else, any thoughts from this exercise? Maybe on the chat you can you put a, I don't know, yay, like yay if it was easy, or like if it was like so and so, not so easy, or put whatever. You don't need to put J or Okay, nice meeting people. It was fun, interesting, great, cool. So what we're trying to tell you in this only 40 minutes of theory and exercise is that basically with these 5 different patterns, you can do a lot. If you understand these patterns, it's a system that actually helps you design processes, because you can be on all the different meetings saying, hey, now we're on this, we're on that, this is a moment, this is this other moment. You can get people on the same page. You can also start spotting problems, clearing some uncertainty about the process, like, hey, what is this meeting for? Hey, it's a meeting for Open Triangle. Great, now you know. And co-creating with other agents. And it's also a system that it helps you plan better processes from idea generation to production and be more intentional with your work system. As I mentioned, all this is on the, let me show again. All this is on this book that I showed you before, but we also do a lot of training and different education that you can sign up if you want and check more on the website for remote facilitation and the mentorship program. You will see more of this theory and different tools. But for now, I just want you to do a quick checkout. So if we go to our Miro board, the last one, you will have here a classic 3 steps checkout reflection on, first of all, how do you feel during this session? How do you feel now after this session? What did you learn that you can start applying today? And if you have any feedback for us, then you can put it there. I'll put my last jam of the afternoon. while you do this, we'll be sharing the final checkout later. Okay, so yeah, it seems like there's some good energy going on the session. Thank you very, very much for that. And we see a lot of people thinking about patterns, thinking about the way to create the different exercises. The mindset is super important. So I just like, I think it's just like going around life without intention. How can you go to a meeting without an intention, without a mindset? I think this is important, super important, and even more when you have a team. And then you can start seeing like, oh, it's not this person that is impossible to work with. It's that we are not aligning. Of course, there's some people that are impossible to work with, but there's not so many. It's just like everyone can actually work their way around. So yeah, we really hope that you enjoy the session. Please, right now we open the floor to questions, to Q&A. If you prefer to do it, you can put your mic on, you can put that on the chat, or if you want, we have a Q&A frame here. If you prefer to put the question there, and then I'll try to answer it. And yeah, we just basically open the floor to anything that you want to say. How's it for you, Jair? Do you want to ask any questions?
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't join the group session because I had to stay back taking care of the rooms. No, but I think it was really engaging, and I think there was a lot of activity and interesting theory I never knew about. So that's great. I learned definitely new stuff, and thing is that the dynamic between teams will always be different. So it's always good to refresh this. And I can already thank Triggers, and then hopefully we get some more questions meanwhile. But thanks to Sandy, thanks for Ale for this great interactive session. And I hope that you guys stay in touch with Triggers as well. One more reminder for me. I see some people that are still guest editors. That's not necessary because we give you $1,000 for free if you go to miro.com/startups, and you can just get your paid account there. So feel free to do that. All right. So are there any questions? Did some questions come up?
Hey guys. Oh, sorry. I had a quick question. Yeah. Yes. Awesome. I'm Lachazar from Skilled Labs. I have a e-learning company, build courses and training programs. And I was just wondering, I've been using some of the brainstorming design tools, and Miro included. Would you say some of these techniques that you taught today, like they can be used for like almost storyboarding and putting an outline of a course, just like thinking about, okay, how do we have this knowledge and then we want to split it up into modules and make it into something that could be taught. Would you see these techniques being applied there?
Yeah, definitely. So I have it's very interesting because these kind of patterns, they're being used in many different type of companies. Some from technology companies that they need to make engineers, lawyers, business people to understand each other on the same meeting. But there are some educators that are actually putting the program and designing the program into like, okay, this is going to be a bit more on making people explore different things or making people understand or making people define. So yeah, I would say anything that is about a participatory process and something that needs to align people together, this could be really, really useful.
Awesome. Yeah. And thanks a lot for the session today. I think there's a bunch of things that I learned that I can apply, right away. And it's like the flow was great. And yeah, awesome.
Thank you very much. If you're interested more on the methodology, as I said, like you can get even on the ebook. It explains very, very easily. You have the links here below. Also some of the tools and the educations, the tickets for the different events that we do.
Awesome.
Any other question, comment? Anyone wants their money back from the event? Disappointed people?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
If you like target these frictions, and then you get your team to use like these tools like, hey, we're in the circle phase or we're in the square phase. How do you feedback, or how do you give feedback to someone who's not like aligned with everyone? Like, I feel you, I get you, but seriously, dude, we're in another phase.
My style, Diana, was it right? My style is actually to always give the feedback on the positive, what I want them to do. So not on the negative. So I would say, for example, if someone is being very negative on the open triangle, I will say, okay, yeah, I hear you. This is a problem with the idea, but how would you turn it around? Do you have any suggestions on how would you do this in a pragmatic way or an efficient way or whatever? So you need to ask people a question that turns the mindset around into the one that you want. Not tell them, not point out fingers and be like, that's not the right one, you know? Because then you create a bit of a friction and yeah. I see someone has their hand raised.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's me.
Thank you.
May I jump in?
Juan, yeah, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the session. It was great, and it's great to keep using Miro. I'm getting used to it. And so I just would like to have an advice from you. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but it's my first time. I already had 2 companies, but it's my first time I'm actually building a startup. So I've been in all this journey of being in the startup ecosystem. And well, I'm about to 4 to 6 months to launch the platform. And I will start welcoming about between 12 and 20 people from here to the next 2 months. So I'm hiring, onboarding people, and I'm a little out of, let's say, out of shape. I already managed teams of 40 up to 70 people in my former company. So, and now what would you recommend? Because I'm more like, I've been more in the circle, in the square, and jumping into the star right now, and people will start on board right now. So they will be like lost, like, okay, what do we have to do? So what do you recommend into that journey so the onboarding process for collaborators will be easier?
I think you can actually do the onboarding a bit on self-knowledge and understanding who they are. So it's very useful to know, who do you have in your team. So maybe you have more stars, more open triangles, more closed triangles. And when you know a bit of them, what do they need? You can make very simple questions. Like, what is it? Do you prefer to jump in and do experimenting? Or do you prefer to understand very well the problem? Are you more on tangible ideas? Are you more like, experimenting? So then you can start dividing, making your leadership very fluid. You can just like tell them they can be leaders in different parts of the process, and you know who you have on the team. And when it comes to the onboarding, I would say it's very good to have a system that they can all share. It could be this one, or it could be whatever process you want, but I will do the onboarding on this is how we do things. This is what we need to prepare before the meetings, so we make them more productive. So try to get a common language, because if not, we don't know, we are not understanding each other. In my case, in my team, we are talking circles and squares and all that is our common language. Maybe you have another one, but build that system.
Thank you.
Liliana?
Yes, thank you very much. I saw you some weeks ago at the Barbara's Virtual Space Hero presentation you had with her some weeks ago. And that brought me to Google you, because I found it already at that time quite inspiring, and it confirmed today as well. I see advantages, I see inspiration, I see lots of positive things. Now, let me turn the thing on the other way. you as a creator of this concept, what do you see are the limits, where the limits are? What do you see as a bit of maybe less easy, less positive, less constructive, something that bothers you, something from the feedbacks of people, they might not be so happy to be categorized in these 5 patterns?
Yeah, I think really good question, and you're forcing me to criticize my own invention. I like it. I will say the problem with categorizations and patterns is always the limit between them, because I don't remember who was it, but I think it's this guy, I don't remember the name now, but the author of Homo Sapiens, you know,
As a Noah Harari.
Exactly. Sorry, this was an easy one. Come on, Ale. Anyway, so he tells this concept of like we have this imaginary. I don't know how he says it in English. By imaginary agreements from imaginary spaces. So we just say, hey, you know, this is a square and this is a circle. They do not exist. They don't exist, actually. It's just a concept that I'm making out, you know, just like making it up, sorry. And just like the problem sometimes is the borders, like when does one pattern and the other start? In my case, I try to exaggerate them because then it helps me make chapters, make processes. But of course, sometimes it's more fluid. Sometimes you start transitioning between one pattern and another. Maybe that's a bad or like a negative point, but at the same time, I will feel the more mature your team is, the more they can do the transitions. And then you can still refer to the patterns, to the tangible part, when there are frictions. But if not, you can let those transitions flow. But yeah, sometimes the transitions are the problem, I would say. Cool. So anything else? If not, we'll wrap it up. Let you all enjoy your evening, afternoon, morning. I don't know.
Me.
Yeah, Nicole.
Are you thinking of new mindsets? Do you think you're gonna they're gonna be more, because it's quite nice because it's easy and simple to understand and it's perfect. But do you think you'll add more in the future, or have you found others through your research?
There's only one that I use as an extra one, but I think the 5 of them are fine as they are. They contain many different mindsets. That is production. It's production mode. When you just start creating, crafting, you know, without thinking, it's just like, you know, when you put a podcast when you are just designing or coding or something, that's because you don't need to think that much. So that's producing for me, and that's an extra pattern that I use sometimes. But yeah, I'm quite happy with these 5 guys there. I think they're gonna stay 5 for a long time. Yeah, Margaret?
Yeah, hi, Ali. I'm Margaret and I'm from India. So it's a bit late over here. And sorry, I joined in a little late because of the time zone concern. So yeah. So my question is basically I'm a designer and I'm a startup. So basically I'm like a one woman army right now. So currently I don't have a team yet, but I do have like 2 students who are interning, and we are all located in different area. So I signed up for this Miro subscription. So I just want like to ask you like, can I like, you know, I sort of subscription base, so I can sign it for like say 2 people. I can also sign in like 25 participations. So can I change that, like, you know, based on my usage, like month to month, like?
Alternate to high.
Yeah, so let's take this offline. I think this is, we can definitely contact you about this, but I think I will put your email in the chat and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. I think
Sure, all right.
Yeah?
All right, okay, thank you.
I had a question for you, Ale, regarding the theory. Does it work well cross-cultural? I'm thinking like on like low context cultures, like where I'm from, like in the Western Europe, really direct, or to more high context cultures where people are take way longer before they make their point. So do you see sometimes difficulties there?
Well, it's always about the. I feel like, for example, you let me know if it's the opposite. But in a culture like yours, hi, maybe you actually prefer this because you're like, no, come on, this is the square, like this, this doesn't go here. There are others that really go around and they just like we in Spain, for example, we can procrastinate a bit more and be like, yeah, but come on, let's get some beers and let's have a chat about the project. Yeah, there's of course some certain things that could be difficult when it comes to the cultural differences. But at the end of the day, I'm not telling you how to apply this. I'm telling you that you can apply this however you want. It's just again a common language. So yeah, I think it's quite. I've been teaching this from Mexico to Russia to Netherlands, and every time they found it interesting, and they've been applying it in the States, Canada. So yeah, it seems like they can make it work.
No more questions. So we then all thank Triggers one more time. Thanks very much for taking your free evening to teach us something new. Really happy to have you here. And yeah, if there's no more questions from your sides, then let's or celebrate your morning, afternoon, or evening. Stay tuned for the next event. Will be on diversity, on the importance of diversity, and yeah, hope to see you there as well. Bye-bye.